Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about 3 Fletch versus 4 Fletch, what we learned from the Arrow Ballistics Study, and then also I'm going to talk about a few things that are pertinent to 3 Fletch versus 4 Fletch that are outside of the study. Stay tuned. Okay guys, we're going to jump right in. 3 Fletch versus 4 Fletch. This is a big and interesting topic. So during the test, we looked at 4 different fletching configurations, or 4 different vane profiles, I should say, in a 3 Fletch and a 4 Fletch. They were the AAE Max 23, AAE Max Stealth, which is the 26 profile, the Flex Fletch Quad X, and the Tack Driver 225. In all of these, the 3 and 4 Fletch were done with a Bitzenberger right helical clamp and with 2 degrees of offset. So we're going to do things a little differently on this YouTube video. Tristan, my partner on this study from Precision Cut Archery, we've organized this really cool case study over on the Precision Cut Archery website. So we're actually going to walk through this case study, doing some screen recording so you can actually see part of his website here on this video. I really encourage you to go check out his website. He's got all of the data cataloged over there as well as a lot of these figures. It's a really cool website, and you'll see a lot of functionality that we have over there that it's really hard to show otherwise. So jumping straight in here, this plot, you've seen something similar to this. Instead of this being a normalized plot like what I've shown in the past, we're actually showing raw values. So on the left-hand side over here, we've got the y-axis, we've got aerodynamic drag. This is the drag coefficient. Lower is better. So lower down is better here. And on the x-axis, we're showing pure broadhead displacement. So how well these fletchings controlled the fixed blade broadhead, the iron will wide. So a smaller broadhead displacement means more lift recovery. So further to the left is better. So in this plot, the lower left-hand corner is best. Also, we are coloring the shapes by the shapes by sound intensity. So purple being the loudest and yellow being the quietest. So the legend down here is the circles are the 3 and 4 Fletch of the AAE Max Stealth. The squares are the 3 and 4 Fletch of the Flex Fletch Quad X. The triangles are the AAE Max Stealth, and the diamonds are the Tack Driver 2.5. Now the first thing that you're going to notice in looking in this plot is, for the most part, the corresponding shapes are almost stacked directly above one another. This is pretty significant. The only one that's not really stacked on top of each other is the AAE Max 23. So what we're looking at here is, if there is the fact that they're mostly stacked on top of each other, that means that you're not seeing a whole lot of effect on broadhead displacement or lift recovery by adding that 4th vane. You're seeing more of vertical translation, so that means that it's impacting the drag coefficient more than the lift recovery. Now that being said, the AAE Max 23 was the one vane that we did see a substantial increase in lift recovery or less broadhead displacement by adding that 4th Fletch. One of the cool things that we have here over on the Precision Cut Archery website is when you hover over one of these icons, a whole bunch of information pops up. It tells you the exact value for the drag based on the average of the test. It shows you the confidence interval, the 95% confidence interval. It shows you the exact broadhead displacement and the exact sound level as well. So the 3 Fletch here drifted 26 inches compared to the 4 Fletch drifted 23.7 inches. So you could see that the fourth fletch drifted 3 inches less, but at the same time had a drag increase from 0.805 to 0.852. So this was the single vane in the test that did have a meaningful change by adding that fourth vane. It was also the smallest vane that we tested in the 3 versus 4 fletch. These other ones, starting here with the tack driver drifted 19.8 inches in the 3 fletch and drifted 19 inches with the 4 fletch. So a little less than 1 inch change. And honestly, considering our confidence intervals here, a 1 inch change is kind of in the noise. So instead of looking, it's hard to say if the 4 fletch actually improved the lift recovery, maybe marginally. But for the most part, it seems to be just a direct increase in aerodynamic drag. That drag changed from 0.8327 to almost 0.9. So that's that's a fairly 5 to 10% jump in aerodynamic drag by adding that fourth fletch. Similarly with the Quad X, 20 inches of broadhead displacement on the 3 fletch and 20.78 or 20.8 inches on broadhead displacement on the 4th fletch. So again, that's basically just almost a pure vertical translation. A fairly non-insignificant change in broadhead displacement, but a more significant change in aerodynamic drag. Similarly with the Max Stealth, 15-inch broadhead displacement on the 3 fletch and 14.47 inch on broadhead displacement. So again, half inch less, but a near 10% increase on the aerodynamic drag. So again, the Max 23 was pretty much the only vane that showed a significant increase in lift recovery by adding that 4th vane. I think you could probably draw the parallel here that the smaller vanes will benefit from adding that 4th fletch, but the bigger vanes probably won't benefit much from adding that 4th fletch. That seems to be what the data is showing. So there are a few ramifications of this beyond the study. Obviously, adding a 4th fletch adds weight to your arrow. These vanes range from 5 to 9 grains, 5 to 10 grains. General rule of thumb is as you add 2 to 3 grains on your arrow, you'll slow down a foot per second. So 9-10 grains can be as much as 3 or 4 feet per second that you'll slow down your arrow. The other thing about the 4th fletch is obviously it takes time and costs more money to add a 4th fletch. We're not really seeing a big difference in lift recovery and more just adding drag. So you'll just have to weigh in. There is one major benefit, two benefits to adding that 4th fletch. The one is sight house clearance. So the way that generally your nock orients with the 4 fletch, no one vane is sticking straight up, so your sight housing can come down lower. So generally you can get more sight housing clearance. The other benefit is if you nock tune for groups or broadhead for broadhead tuning, and you're doing that after you've fletched your 4 arrows. Obviously, with a 4 fletch, you have one more place to clock that nock versus a 3 fletch. Personally, I'm doing my nock tuning before I fletch my arrows, so that's not as big of a benefit for me as it is for maybe somebody else. So those are kind of the 2 benefits to 4 fletch. You're going to have to weigh out for you personally if those benefits are worth the extra weight. For the most part, if you're adding weight to your arrow, I like to add weight to the front of the shaft, not so much the rear of the shaft. I don't focus too much on FOC, but certainly less weight on the back of the shaft is beneficial compared to the front. Definitely something to consider there. The other thing that I want to show is the other plot with all the other vanes together, to kind of show some relationship here. So as we talked before, the further left on this plot, the better for lift recovery. So if you're adding a fourth Fletch to let's say that you shoot a mechanical with a 3 Fletch and you want to shoot a fixed blade with that same vane, but you want to add a fourth Fletch. In my opinion, you'd be better off going with a vane profile that does a little bit better controlling fixed blades in a 3 Fletch than adding a fourth Fletch to a vane that's maybe intended to steer mechanical. The point being, a couple of examples here, this Quad X, for example, you can see its relationship. It drifted with the fixed blade broadhead about 20 inches here, but you can see if you're selecting a fourth Fletch for that, which is this dot, you'd be better off, in my mind, picking one of these vane profiles over here on the far left, which have really pronounced, really good lift recovery, like the AAE Hybrid HP in a 3 Fletch or the AAE Air Razor Talon. So 4 Quad X vanes weighs about 20 grains, and 3 AAE Talons weighs just over 20 grains. Let's see, the Talon weighs 3, so that's 27 grains. So 3 Talons are going to weigh 7 grains more, but you get substantially better lift recovery. Looking at the Flex Fletch 360 right here, substantially in a 3 Fletch, substantially better lift recovery than like the Quad X in a 4 Fletch or the, let's find the tack driver here. Tack driver 225. And that's the other tack driver 225. So 4 Fletch tack driver 225, 4 Fletch in that is going to weigh about 20 grains versus a 3 Fletch in the Flex Fletch 360 is going to give you better lift recovery at the same weight. So that's the kind of way that I'm looking at this, that if you're adding that 4th Fletch to help control like a bigger mechanical broadhead or a fixed blade broadhead and you think you need it, I just take a look at some of these vane profiles that just did a little bit better for controlling those bigger broadheads in a 3 Fletch configuration. Personally, I used to shoot, this is the Max Stealth in a 4 Fletch. I actually used to shoot this a number of years ago for my bigger fixed blade broadheads. But that's a pretty classic vane setup for shooting fixed blades. But honestly, after this test, I've completely changed my mentality. For my fixed blade arrows, I'm gonna be looking to shoot the Air Razor Talon or the Hybrid HP. It's gonna weigh less than the Max Stealth in a 4 Fletch. That's 4 times 9 grains, so that's 36 grains. For in the 4 Fletch versus the Talon in a 3 Fletch is 27 grains, or the Hybrid HP, I believe, weighs 6 grains, times 3 is 18, so that's 18 grains on the back of your shaft. So that's my personal takeaway on 3 versus 4 Fletch. Like I mentioned, there's some things that we learned from the study, and then there's some practical things as well to look at. So now it's up to you. Do you see the benefit of 3 versus 4 Fletch? Make a comment below. Certainly in the study here, we've cataloged this data at 1 velocity, about 285 feet per second. So keep that in mind. That this doesn't cover all velocity ranges. That we did just look at it with 1 velocity, but at least you've got an idea of how it performed in the study with a controlled shooting machine. Thanks everyone for watching this YouTube episode on 3 Fletch versus 4 Fletch. This was a really fun one to make. Also, big thanks to Tristan for helping with the case study on the Precision Cut Archery website. Definitely go check out his website. It's killer. I just wanted to say quickly, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications for when we release new YouTube videos. Give you a little sneak peek on the next one that I want to do, another deep dive on vanes and fletching configurations, looking specifically at the differences between straight offset, 2-degree helical, and like a max 4 to 5 degree helical. Well, there was a lot to learn in the study there, and I can't wait to bring you that video. I hope you like this one. Leave a comment about this video and any sort of future videos that you want to see, maybe a deep dive on the study that you want me to do, or gear reviews, or hunting strategies, or all kind of things that I want to target in this YouTube channel. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking. I appreciate all the comments. Thank you so much for all the support, and we'll catch you next time.